So in the last videos, I talked about content access and practice options. Now, while that's important because you need to know something about the content in order to actually move on with the course, the main focus of the course is actually on the development of skills. So you should be spending most of your time actually working on projects, activities, and assessments that show up in the unit that actually allow you to actually demonstrate and practice the mastery of cognitive skills, which are the science and engineering practices that we have in biology. So all the units will have within each lesson activities that you can complete. For example, here in lesson one, there's an activity, there's a lab, and there's also the side quests. Now, the side quests aren't required, and the labs are just supporting evidence of mastery, but they both count. And the side quests count as full evidence, but uh, do you get a day to work on the labs when there is a lab on the list? Sometimes the activities are homework, sometimes they're classwork, but all of these are opportunities to demonstrate mastery of the skills. Now, the cool thing is that these are also going to count for content mastery. So if you struggle to pass quizzes or tests, you can do projects, activities, and the labs and the side quests to also demonstrate the content. So there's kind of two birds with one stone, right? Because you get the content and the skills. When you click on any given activity, for example, let's just open this one here, modeling Earth spheres. What you see is that there is instructions on what content and skill this can serve as evidence for. So that's a really cool way to get points that actually count towards your grade in the class. And that's really what you should be spending most of your time on because, while learning the content matters, these are the things that actually get graded. Now, every unit also has a boss that is just for content, but there's a performance test, there's a project, there's a unit connections. These are activities, labs, and projects that can give you access to both the content and skills and opportunities to demonstrate and practice those things. The unit connections are side quests, and like the side quests that show up in every lesson, those are optional. And they are associated with the unit as a whole, not with the topic of that lesson, but they are also available as options for you to demonstrate mastery of skills. This is why, if you go into the biology mastery evidence portfolio, there's going to be in here a link to something that's called the biology evidence portfolio main options document. This is also linked in the uh, all the assignments within Schoology when they actually the ones that actually track they get graded and count for your grade. Because if you click on any of these links, let's say for example, I'm looking for something to demonstrate mastery of analyzing and interpreting biological data. This will show you all the options that we've had so far in the semester to demonstrate mastery of that skill. And remember, you only really need two or three consistently showing mastery in order to score decently well. Now, I can and sometimes do lower your score if you have gotten another required evidence of mastery and you didn't do it, but you didn't have to do that one. You can do a different one so long as you do it. So if there is four required evidences at this point and you have four, it doesn't matter which four it is, you will still get the credit. So this is cool because that means that you have multiple opportunities. Notice that some of them can only count as supporting evidence, which means they can only count together with others. They don't count by themselves. They can't be the only evidence, right? But if, as long as you have other pieces of evidence, they can add to the evidence. So if you have three, they can count as a fourth, right? And that's kind of the idea to actually support you on getting that evidence that you need in order to score well. Now, when I mean what is the required evidence, right? So I always expect students to do certain assignments like the performance task or the unit project. So whenever there's a unit project, another evidence is required if that project hits that skill. So that means if you had three and now there's a project that hits at a four, now you have to have four. But it doesn't necessarily have to come from the project. That's the key thing that I was trying to explain. But This video is actually about encouraging you to pay attention to the actual work that gets graded, which are the projects, the performance tasks, the activities, the labs that show up throughout the unit. But you don't necessarily have to do one activity or another. You just have to make sure you match the minimal amount of evidence that is required at any given point. And all of that is listed on Schoology. I have a different video that talks about how to use Schoology and Infinite Campus to keep track of what your mastery is. But you should keep track of it yourself using the biology mastery portfolio, which is there's a different video that I explain how to do that. So, anyways, accessing the content is super important. Doing some extra practice if you have time, also important. But more important is making sure that you complete the assignments that actually get graded, which are the projects, activities, labs, and performance tasks. Now, I also grade things like quizzes and tests, but those are worth 30% of your grade, while the skill mastery is worth 70% of your grade. And most of the activities which are worth skill mastery are also going to give you evidence for the content. So while the quizzes and the tests matter, these matter a lot more. So make sure you focus on this, on your efforts when you're trying to catch up, if you're trying to stay on track, because that is where most of your grade comes from. I hope you found this helpful. I'll see you on the next.